So we finally have a trailer for Insomniac's long-awaited Wolverine game, and people are saying it looks great and lives up to the hype. And as a big fan of the character of Wolverine, it does look good to an extent, because throughout all of these trailers and posts, people are leaving out one crucial detail. And I'm not going to clickbait you or try to make you watch the entire video. I'm just going to tell it to you straight. This game is confirmed as feminist garbage. But before we get into it, if you like these videos and you want to help out the channel, maybe consider subscribing or supporting me over on Patreon. So I've made multiple videos about Wolverine comics on this channel that you could go watch if you want to learn about the character. When I say I'm a Wolverine fan, I'm not a fan of the Fox X-Men Hugh Jackman Wolverine. That is just not the character. I'm not a fan of the modern comic Wolverine. That is nothing like the character. I'm a fan of the real Wolverine from Chris Claremont's full Uncanny X-Men, ranging from the 70s all the way up to the early 90s. Claremont created a character that was this anti-hero that could only really be found if you were reading underground comics or manga. Wolverine didn't wear a cape. He wasn't some pacifist Boy Scout. He was like a mix of Batman and Daredevil, where at his minimum, he was a badass character in the team of the X-Men all the way through the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And at the maximum potential of the character, like we saw in the Claremont Miller miniseries that you should read, it's basically the gateway to the character. Probably up there with the excellent Conan-style origin story Weapon X for being one of the best Wolverine stories ever made. In that miniseries, in Weapon X, in his entire solo series, which is also awesome, the writers and artists take inspiration from pulp fantasy like Conan, and also hard-boiled pulp fiction and film noir, creating the Wolverine that's always smoking a cigarette, drinking, dealing with a femme fatale in some dark city. That is the character of Wolverine. He's like a hard-boiled detective that's darker than even Daredevil. Probably up there with Daredevil for my favorite character at Marvel. By no means is he some forgettable background character like in every brand new comic, or Hugh Jackman in a wife beater running around screaming. And I could talk about the classic comics all day, but I don't know if you want to see that, so if you do, let me know. But that takes me to the Wolverine game, which I'm not really going to be all negative about and say that it looks like total garbage, because it doesn't. As a Wolverine fan, you can't resist that the game is set in Tokyo and Madripoor, two locations that are taken straight from the great comics of Wolverine. And that seems to be the case with this game. There's a lot of stuff taken straight from the comics, like the fact that you have the brown and tan suit and the patch suit. And just a quick side note about the patch era of Wolverine. Many people do not know what that is, and you shouldn't really call yourself a Wolverine fan if you haven't done the research or even read these comics. Basically, when Wolverine finally got his solo run in the 80s, which is absolutely awesome by the way, in this underrated run that is great work from Chris Claremont to John Buscema, and later improved upon by G.I. Joe writer Larry Hama and the excellent artist Mark Silvestri, creating a new persona for Wolverine where he didn't wear the brown and tan suit or the yellow and blue one. Instead, he was taking directly from Humphrey Bogart from Casablanca, constantly seen in a white suit smoking with an eye patch. Now, modern comic book fans who have no respect laugh at this and not see that it's one of the coolest things ever made. But anyways, the patch suit is in the game, and the Asian country Madripoor where Wolverine stayed with all these seedy bars and gangs. So I will have to give massive respect to the game for doing that. And as you can see from the trailer, it does look great. Wolverine riding a motorcycle with Arkham style stealth and combat. And by God, as a Daredevil and Wolverine fan, we do need a proper game like this. And that is one of the problems with this game. It just looks like God of War mixed with Arkham and Spider-Man. And speaking of Spider-Man, that leads me into the main issue of this game. Now, I was positive for a bit. The game does look badass, but at the same time, why is the suit some tactical Christopher Nolan variation instead of the actual character's costume? Why does Logan look and sound nothing like his character? But more importantly, this is Insomniac we're dealing with. The people who gave us Spider-Man Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2. I got Spider-Man 2 because I was a really big fan of Spider-Man at the time and wanted a good Spider-Man game that stayed faithful to the character. And I thought I was going to get that, but what did I get instead? A big load of gay black people. Hey, do you want to play as Miles Morales, the fake Spider-Man, going around at festivals with other people of color? And do you also want to play as his deaf girlfriend for some reason. And all of the female characters are feminist bitches like Mary Jane Watson in Spider-Man 2. So how is that gonna mix? Wolverine, a character who is always dealing with femme fatales like a noir detective, is instead gonna get punched in the nuts by some bitch. And you can already see some of this from the leaks. Now I probably have to watch my words here, or maybe I don't because nobody really gives a crap. But how do I say this without getting myself in trouble? Using the internet, let's just say I borrowed a little sneak peek of Wolverine a few months ago. I'm not lying, I managed to get it up and running, and I'll tell you the truth. This game is hiding something that it's not showing anybody in any of the trailers. You don't just play as Wolverine in this game, you also have to play as Jean Grey in these 4 sections that go on for way too long. Yeah, nobody's telling you that, and Jean Grey is not a feminist character, but knowing Insomniac, they're gonna make her insufferable. And also, the game is called Wolverine. Why am I playing as 2 different characters? Literally, right now, I'll tell you from first-hand experience, the Logan in this game is weak and gay and not at all masculine. You know, like the exact opposite of Logan. And you have to play as Jean Grey for full sections of the game. But as a fan of Wolverine, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want to do. And that means I might even just play this game. But I am warning you that this game is gonna be feminist and it is gonna be woke. I'm just too big a fan of the character to give up an opportunity to play an actual Wolverine game. But this game is 100% without a doubt political. And not even political, it's just shit. Who wants to play as Jean Grey? There's tons of different characters you could have played as. Maybe Kitty Pryde. Like, you know, the classic Chris Claremont run, Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. No, instead you have to play as Jean Grey. But as I said, all that stuff aside, it is a game where you're going to be able to wear the patch outfit, the classic brown and tan. You're going to be able to ride a motorbike through Tokyo like Wolverine would. So I would take this game as a win, but there is going to be some insufferable feminism. And that's just my last point. We can't get a proper Wolverine game where he looks and acts badass and masculine like the character. Instead, there has to be a tacked on chunk of wokeness and feminism. And no real fan of the comics and the character of Wolverine actually wants this. So the people who made this decision to inject feminism, screw you. So that was just a quick video. It's kind of annoying that we have to put up with feminism and wokeness. You can't just get a normal game. That sounds like I'm saying the same thing over and over, but it really is the truth. Screw these miserable people who can't give the fans what they want. So if you want to see more videos like this or videos about classic comics, then do let me know and maybe consider subscribing. And if you're one of the retards out there who advocates for this feminist trash, then go complain to your boyfriend.